What is going on, guys? Thanks for stopping by the garage. Extreme Daily Drivers back from Miatas At The Gap, and it was awesome. It was 3 days of driving, and it was 1,500 miles. And the Miata made it. It limped into Miatas At The Gap. And thank God for this guy John, and I'll plug his company right down here. If you guys are in South Carolina and need some work done on your Miata, hit this guy up. Super cool dude. And of course, Stefan and Dylan from Nat Motorsports. They helped me out because when I rolled into Miatas At The Gap, the Miata was making a loud kind of clanking. Didn't know if it was lift or tick or whatever it was. Turned out that the pulley was hanging on by a thread. So anyway, got that all patched up. The thing runs like a top now. But this is going to be kicking off a 4-part video series that we're going to do on the Miata, and it's going to be finished for quite some time. So we're going to do some easy stuff today, and then we're going to take care of a couple things that kind of on our trip there and back, because it was really our first big trip, that we kind of found that we needed to make a change to, upgrade, that sort of thing. So part 1 today, super easy. Let me show you what we're going to be doing. Okay, so the first thing we're doing is we're getting rid of this guy. This is a charcoal canister. I had some hopes and dreams of relocating this, and I still may do that at some point. But for now, we're just going to get this thing out of here because it's ugly. So let's go ahead and grab a couple pair of pliers, like a 10 millimeter, yank this guy out of here, and I'll show you how we're going to go ahead and plug up the kind of remaining tubes. So Miatas At The Gap is super rad. Stressful, very stressful for a million reasons. Number one, supposed to wash the car the day before the trip. We wound up getting a really bad storm the day before, so didn't wash the car. And I was like, you know what, I can't drive up there with a dirty car. Kelly's like, the car's just gonna get dirty anyway. And I was like, yeah, well, true, but I'm not gonna drive up with a dirty car. This is not gonna happen. So I decided to get up early the day that we leave, which actually was my birthday. So I got up crazy early, like 6 a.m., came outside, washed the car. It was a nasty morning too, super hot and humid. Washed the car, and then I was like, I gotta wash the engine bay because I haven't done that in a long time. Washed the engine bay, got it all done before work, went to work. So then after work, Kelly and I were leaving immediately after work, and the goal was to break the trip up into 2 days since, you know, we had to work that day. And we drove to where they hold the Masters. What is it called? Augusta, Georgia. And so we hop in the car immediately after work. There we go, stupid thing. And wouldn't you know, the car doesn't start. It's turning over, it's not running. And I'm like, dang it, it's because I washed the stupid engine bay. So I was like, oh goodness, let me find out which one of these connectors is wet. So I went through like every single connector. Couldn't dry it out. Still wouldn't start. I'm trying to push start it down the road. The neighbors are helping me push start it down the road. Oh man, it was a total disaster. Couldn't get it started. Finally, pull it back in the garage. Now I'm getting my air compressor out to really dry out these connections. And it turned out it was a crank angle sensor. It was just like soaked. So anyway, dried that thing out, got in the car, and now we're 30 minutes late. I had all intentions of filming, you know, a lot of the trip, but it just got off to a bad start. We immediately hit traffic in Orlando, sat in traffic for 30 minutes, 95 degrees out, top down, dying of heat. And we made it to Augusta, Georgia at midnight. Took forever to get there. And then the next morning, we headed out early in the morning and got to Marysville or Robbinsville, wherever Miatas At The Gap is. We got there and they had just gotten hit with a really bad thunderstorm that knocked power out to the whole village. So it's really remote. It's like in the mountains. There's not a lot of stuff around. Everybody who was staying there, the guys from Nat Motorsports, they had no power, no air conditioning. They could barely use the water. It was really a mess. So anyway, we hung out with them. We had a great time. It was awesome to meet them in person. And then we were driving, and it would rain on off and on. It was super stressful. We're driving the drag in the rain. It's crazy. But hey, we managed. We got it done, and got back home in one piece. We did all the driving in one day on the way home. It took 12 hours. So it was stressful. I didn't film. I should have, but I didn't. Sorry about that. But next time we'll get some good footage. But it was crazy. The car did great though, and super happy about that. So let me finish with these stupid tubes. I know I'm just babbling about. Let me yank this thing off. Okay, so here's what I removed. Charcoal canister. It's got the hose on the bottom, got the hose that goes to the top, and the bracket that holds the canister. I just cleaned it up in here, and you can see much more room. Basically, that canister wasn't doing anything, so that's why I'm removing it. Now, what it leaves us with is a tube here and a tube here. We got to connect these tubes, otherwise all the fuel smell, fumes, or whatever, will be coming up through here. So we grab a hose. I think we just use the one that's off the bottom of the canister. This guy, and make the connection. All right, so we got it on there. This had to be bent over a little bit. I actually used a deep 8mm to bend that fuel vent line a little bit, and reuse the hose. I think she's good. Got a nice clamp on there. It's not going anywhere. All right, so that was done. Super easy to do. What's next? Another thing that's super easy to do. Since the guys in Net Motorsports are so good to Extreme Daily Drivers, I decided to pick up one of their brake booster braces. Check it out. This thing is beautiful. It's just awesome. I'll put a link down in the description if you guys want to pick one of these up. I don't know if they sell them on their website, but I'll reach out to them and find out. Anyway, if you want to get yourself one of these, I think it was $60 or something like that. Really good deal. And what it does is it goes right here. It goes right here on your shock tower. Pull those bolts off, and then boom, braces against your booster. Now you may be saying to yourself, is this something I really need? I'll tell you what, when you're driving on the Dragon and you're pushing your car pretty good, I didn't go bananas with this car. I pushed it pretty good though, and there are certain times there are people behind you where you really have to push it. They're turn-off areas, but they're not always where they need to be. So when I was pushing this car, the brakes were pushed to the max. You guys know the brakes in this, the number one, are for the 1.6. So they're the smallest brakes, and they are very street pads. Like, they are OEM, really, essentially. And we're gonna have to upgrade those at some point because they got really maxed out on the Dragon, for sure. And I know my brake booster was flexing. You say, dude, how do you know your brake booster's flexing? Well, if you're fans of this channel, you know I told a story about Kelly and I trying to remove our brake booster because we had a leak, and it took like 2 days. And the problem was there was a fourth bolt that I never saw, and actually wound up like destroying the the area underneath the car where that bolt actually bolts on. So my booster's held on with 3 bolts. So a brace is a great idea. So anyway, let me grab, what, 13mm? Take these bolts off, throw this guy on. All right, so 2 bolts off. Drop this guy in. All right, hard to do with one hand. That should be okay. Put the bolts back in. Bolts, where are you? Boom. This literally is going to take less time than the removing the fuel canister, charcoal canister. All right, hand tight, that's good. So now the idea is that you brace your master. So I got to get a 16mm and just loosen that guy, tighten that guy so he's against that, and then tighten everything down, and that should do it. So that literally couldn't have been easier. That did take me less time than to install than to remove that stupid charcoal canister. Here it is, finished product. Check it out. Rock solid. Come over here. See it from this angle. It's really hard to get a good shot of it. But yeah, definitely gonna make a difference. Super hyped on that. All right, last thing we're gonna do today is we are gonna install a catch can. So check this mess out. I've been contemplating how I should install it. Got this off Amazon, actually was gonna install it on the Prelude and never pulled the trigger on it. I think it was like $29 shipped. I'll put a link down in the description. Got really, really good reviews. It is nothing fancy, but it should get the job done. Trying to figure out where to put it. So this guy goes on here. It's essentially the size of a oil filter. I was actually thinking about installing it right here, where that old canister was that we removed. But I think it would go on the firewall. It really should go on the firewall. Actually, it goes like this. It really should go on the firewall. That's the best place for it. Thing to keep in mind is you got to be able to remove the bottom of this, right? Because oil should be collected in the bottom. And I got to make sure I have the room to do that. And I think I do. The only issue now is mounting it. Bolts are kind of weird. You see the two holes there. Kind of putting that bottom bolt's kind of in the way. I don't know. I'm rambling. Let me mess with this. At least get him out of the firewall, and then we can worry about how we're going to run the tubing. All right, check it out. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Let me know if I actually did this correctly. I think I did. We have our PVC kind of going to the in, marked here on the side. And then we have an exit. I don't know if it says out. It does say out. Okay, out going into the intake. Comment below, guys. Let me know if I have that right. I'm pretty sure I do. Never installed one of these before, but I think that guy's on there. Let's go ahead and start it up. Let's see if this thing runs. Looks good. Sounds good. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for today. Next week's video, we're gonna be wrapping the header. And during the trip to Tennessee, we noticed that it gives off kind of a lot of heat and definitely killing some engine performance, especially in the mountains. So we're gonna wrap that, cool the engine bay down, give us a little bit of a cooler cabin. And you guys hear that it still knocks against the transmission tunnel on startup. So we're gonna go ahead and massage that transmission tunnel so that we have more room for our header. On top of that, we're gonna be installing some new upgraded engine mounts. And we're finally gonna install the Skunk 2 intake and larger throttle body. So stay tuned, make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe. We'll see you next week. Later.